Welcome to the 13th International. We're here today with myself, Theo Goodman, and Whit. Hey, what's up, Whit?
Hey, what's up, Theo? Can you hear me okay?
I can hear you great. Sounds good. So,
Awesome.
what are you drinking, Whit?
Drinking a Bell's Two-Hearted Ale, staple beer. I'm at Lumina Wine and Beer on the patio in Asheboro, North
Welcome to
Carolina.
the 13th International.
And I
Great.
just opened
Sounds
it.
good. Yeah.
Yeah. What are you
Yeah. So
drinking,
it's
Theo?
working.
What do
I'm
you have?
drinking. Yeah. Right. So I've got the bottle here. Um, it's called Carlos the Strong One, and it's just a double bock, which is a usually it's only around in Christmas, but I don't know if they're gonna, like start making this when it's from Frankfurt. It's not a microbrew. There's a factory here in Frankfurt that makes it, but it's pretty good, and it's by the Binding Brewery, and most of their beer is only okay. It's just kind of like it's okay. It's nothing special, but that one's pretty good, and it costs almost the same as the other kind, which is really amazing. Here's what it looks like in a glass. It's really dark, that kind of dark kind of color. It tastes kind of like I guess it has a kind of like caramel taste a little bit. It
Uh-huh.
doesn't have that American over. It doesn't have that typical American super hoppy taste. Is that what yours tastes like?
Bell's is a pale ale. It's not quite an IPA. And it's got a little bit more of the flowery, herby tastes rather than the bitter, hoppy taste, but it's got a lot of hop. It's real refreshing, light beer. It's a little bit high ABV. It's a 6.9, and so it's a little bit dangerous because it's so good.
Yeah,
How many?
it's the
How,
same here. This one is 7.5, so it's pretty strong. But really, that stuff is not really popular and just starting to get popular in Germany. I mean, this one that what I have is a traditional one, but it's usually they just call it Christmas beer or fest beer. Then they make
uh-huh.
this strong one. But usually, most it's not. In the past, it was never popular. It was just really standard pilsner and really good pilsner, but just plain, pretty plain kind of beer. Not like in America where you get all this like mega hop and all that. You can't really find it. You can get stuff that's unfiltered, so it's like a pilsner, but it's unfiltered. It tastes a lot different. It's like all it's not. It's just translucent. It's not transparent. You can get that kind of stuff, but it's started. I've seen one or two. It's really funny. I've seen one or two now craft beers, and they're kind of like American style, but they're made in Germany. It's kind of weird. So they have that kind of what do you call it? That super hoppy kind. What's the name of it again?
IPA, India Pale Ale.
Right. They have that Indian Pale Ale taste. I don't know if it really is one, but I think so. So I found one or two that are, beers that are actually doing that now here, but that's not really widely known at the moment. So that's pretty
Do you,
interesting.
do you feel like because of the German love for beer and wine and the old tradition of the purity laws that Germany is more resistant to craft brewed beer?
A little bit. I mean, people are not aggressively against it, but I think that I'm really surprised how it caught on in America in the last, what, 7 years or so, I guess,
That's about
and
right. Yeah.
or last 10 years. Yeah. I mean, it took off before then, but it got really big. Like what, 6, 7 years ago, it got really big.
When did
Really
uh
surprised. Mhm.
when did when did Duck Rabbit start? That was about 10 years ago.
I don't even know what Duck Rabbits is.
So Duck Rabbit is in Farmville. Sorry, there's a ambient noise because I'm out here on the street. Duck Rabbit is a brewery in Farmville, which is about 20 minutes from Greenville, where we were in school, and that brewery opened up back when we were in school. I think it was one of the first craft beers in North Carolina. So that puts it at about 10 years.
Right.
How many breweries do you reckon there are in Frankfurt?
I don't know. I think off the top of my head, 4 or 5, and one is really big with a big factory, and another one is large. And there's 3 small ones that have been around for a long time. There might be some other new ones that I don't even know about. I'm not really, seeking them out really hard, but I have noticed a few more choices at door than normal. And so I think that that kind of this craft beer or having microbreweries is kind of catching on more. What you have here more is local beers. So a lot of times the city will have a brewery, and it's not really micro in size. It's bigger than that, and in the region it's known, but it's not really. You don't really get it in every other city. So a lot of beers, like this one I'm drinking, you won't get that in every city. You won't find it at all. You'll just find it, I don't know, maybe like 50 or 100 miles away from here. Maybe you can find it, and after that, that's it. Because it's kind of they're just for around here, basically.
How old do you think? How long would a brewery like that have been around? It seems like that distribution network's just been there for a long time.
I don't know. I'm looking on the bottle right now, but it doesn't say. But I'm sure. Oh no, here we go. Well, it's just talking about this beer. Hold on. Yeah. So this beer, this brewery was started in 1902. Binding, it's called. So I mean, yeah, there's a big tradition of it, of course. And now I don't know if they're owned. What's going on though is there's a big company. I forgot the name of them. Maybe you know. I think they own Heineken, and they're buying up a lot of breweries.
I feel like that might be.
I forgot the name of them.
Is that Coors?
It's not Coors. It's a different name. But they own a whole lot of breweries, right? And they keep buying them up. So that's a thing that's going on. And, yeah, most of the time they leave the beer alone, though. They just keep it, and they just bought the brand and the distribution, all that, and they keep it as it is. They do own a lot of beers. I mean, so there's a big difference. So, like in Belgium, they already have a real wide variety of beers. Because they don't have the tradition with the purity law. So
right.
They have all the weird stuff. They have stronger ones. They've got like weird ones with like cherry in it, and I don't know, all kinds of stuff. That's kind of a popular one with cherry in it. It might sound weird. It's actually not that bad. It's not something I would drink all the time, but you'd be surprised. It actually tastes good. And there's like that one, I think it's popular in America now, it's called white beer. I don't know exactly. Yeah, that's also a real pop. That's a typical Belgian style one. And then there's Duivel. It's like devil. I don't know if you've seen that. It's the same. It's like this color, and it's like 7 or 8%. And you get that at almost every bar. So they have just pills, and they have that one at almost at every bar. And so Belgium has a different history about beers and accepting all kinds of stuff. It's also interesting. I think that that relates to Belgium in general, because Belgium is a really weird. So Belgium is kind of like a microcosm for the EU, because what it is 3 different peoples, quote, or whatever you want to call them, slam together, but they don't want to be together. Because Belgium, there's a Dutch region, there's a French region, and there's a real tiny German region. The German region is really just like one city and like a county, basically. And the only people that can speak French and Dutch are the Germans that live in Belgium, because the French don't want to speak Dutch, and the Dutch probably can speak French, but they don't want to speak French to the French because they just hate each other. So it's a real weird thing. But because of that weird mix, you get also weird beers. I think
Right.
it's an I think that really goes together, and that's how the EU is too. It's a bunch of countries, and they don't really want to be together, but they're just kind of are together. They don't necessarily hate each other, but they're not really together in history. They're never really meant to be sharing a country necessarily.
Yeah, I
Anyway,
think
so what's
you could go down the rabbit hole with that conversation about Greece and Spain and debt and stuff like that. But I wanted to talk a little bit more about beer. I think uh, the Belgian beers had a big influence on that homebrew scene, brewing scene that happened in the late 90s, because the ability to experiment with herbs and spices and stuff was a big inspiration for folks who were brewing stuff up in their garages. So that's why you've got more wheat beers and more Belgian beers. And then the IPA thing, I think, was also a lot of fun for people, just because the process was more complicated and the flavors you get to play with a little more. Um,
Yeah, definitely it's more interesting.
so it's gotten to the point in the U.S. where there are so many breweries that the they're having trouble naming their beers now, because two breweries will have a beer named the same thing, and so the breweries are suing each other about the names of their beer. There are 77 breweries thereabouts in North Carolina. 77 breweries in North Carolina. That's a lot.
So do you know if any of the breweries take Bitcoin?
I don't know if any of the breweries take Bitcoin. I feel like that's a probably a good possibility. Um,
Well, it would be a good it would it would be a good way for them to get exposure, first of all, and it makes sense for a small company to accept Bitcoin because you pay less fees.
so here's an article that
Or
comes up
like,
right away
uh-huh.
about the Philadelphia Brewing Company taking Bitcoin. So they may have been one of the first breweries to start taking Bitcoin. Um, and you're involved in Bitcoin, right? You sort of got into that early on. Did you have a Bitcoin mining operation or anything like that?
I didn't have a mining operation, but yeah, I guess I got into it in 2013. Actually, I heard about it. I got into it a little bit right before Cyprus happened. So I don't know if you remember, but what happened in Cyprus is that the government basically confiscated, well, the government just closed all bank accounts and confiscated money from every bank account that had more than 10,000 euro on. Basically, to make a long story short, they were bankrupt and they had a lot of problems with money. And it is true that Cyprus was kind of like a bank haven for stereotypically and probably in reality for Russian organized crime. So it's kind of like Germans go to Switzerland to wash their money, and Russians used to go to Cyprus to wash their money. As like the, it's kind of like the just like in the movies, but the Russians would go to Cyprus to do it. And since the government was bankrupt, they were just like, well, we know that money is illegal. Let's just take it. So what they did is they just closed everybody's bank account for a few days. And I think at the beginning they wanted to take, if you had 10,000 euro then they were going to take like 10% of it or something crazy like that. I think they raised it so that you had to have a little bit more because there were really a lot of people freaking out. They also freezed, I think they freezed, in and out transactions, so people just didn't have money, and just imagine that the government just shuts down all the bank accounts, says everything's closed, and if you happen to have some amount in your account that's above X amount, we're going to take some. Besides taxes and all that, they just say closed, we're going to take it. So that's what happened. And because of that, the Bitcoin price exploded. So it looks like that people were getting funds out of Cyprus using Bitcoin. I mean, some people say it was, Russian mobsters or something. It could have been some, but anyway, it caused a big price explosion, and then the price right after also crashed. But it got some exposure, and then I got into it more. Right before Cyprus, I was getting into it, but I was just going to these little things called faucets where you get a lit of Bitcoin for free. And it used to be that you would get more than you get now, so it used to be a little bit more worth it, but they would just give you like, I don't know, a tenth of a penny or something, basically. But it was a good way. It still is a good way to kind of get started, to at least have a little bit, and then you can see how it works. Well, first of all, there's no central organization behind Bitcoin. So Bitcoin is a distributed consensus. So it's a decentral distributed network. There's no company, there's no government, and there's no entity behind Bitcoin. So if you have a wallet, a Bitcoin wallet, the full version, then you're downloading a ledger. A ledger is books with all the transactions that you make. So imagine you're kind of like your bank account statement. And so it's a distributed ledger with all of the transactions that have ever happened in Bitcoin, but everybody has a copy. So that means that you cannot manipulate things, and everything is, so this is how, that's why it can work. And everybody agrees on this ledger. That's an example of the distributed consensus. So basically, and the amount of Bitcoins that can be created is limited. So it's not like dollars or euros where the government says, oh, we want to fight a war. Well, what are we going to do? We'll just print some money, and then we'll buy stuff. And then everyone else can go to hell because their money is worth less. So you can't do that with Bitcoin because, yeah. Mm-hmm.
So you feel like that Bitcoin is more stable in the long run, just a better model?
Well, definitely. So stable, it depends on what aspect stable. I mean, everybody looks at the price and says the price is not stable, and it is very volatile. However, a lot of things at the beginning of their existence were really volatile too. Bitcoin is a little over 5 years old, and so it's pretty young, and it's normal that things are really volatile in the price. What Bitcoin is very system is very robust compared to other economic systems that we have that keep on failing. So it's kind of like you have this economic system, what we have now, and it's really efficient because it's centralized, and it's fast and efficient because it's centralized. And decentralized maybe is a little bit less convenient and a little bit less efficient, actually. Nobody wants to say it, but it's true. But that's the trade-off. It's really robust as compared to these other systems that just keep failing. And then what you do, you just build the same shit again, and you just go through these circles. There's so many. You just go round and around and around, and you just fail, and then it goes down, and then it goes up, and then it fails. And with Bitcoin, it's not like that. So, and also another thing is there's a lot of dimensions to it, but another real key dimension is that there's no permission involved with Bitcoin, in that you can send someone funds and no government can censor you. So, for example, we had on World Crypto Network, there was a guy that happened to be from Hong Kong, and we knew him because he watched some of the shows before the protests started in Hong Kong. And then the protest started, and he was like, hey guys, I'm right, let's go on air. And so he would do live broadcasts, or he still does them, from the Hong Kong protests. And people that wanted to support him and help him pay for his streaming, because he was doing 4G streaming and it was costing a lot, he put up his Bitcoin address, and people could send him directly funds without going through a bank first, and without any bank saying, okay, you can do it, or anyone. So there's no permission involved. You don't have to ask any permission for it. You can send directly person to person.
So what was the name of that network you mentioned?
World Crypto Network. So I have a show on there,
Uh-huh.
and that's on YouTube. World, and you can also go to the website worldcryptonetwork.com, and there are several shows a week on World Crypto Network. And yeah, sometimes James is his name. He just, sends us a message. Hey guys, I'm in the middle of the Hong Kong protests. I want to go live. And we're like, okay. And we set up a hangout just like we have now. And he's live right in the middle of the thing, giving us it's better than any other kind of news. I mean, it's directly on the ground, right with people directly, and yeah, and it was just I just wanted to say that's an example of how people. So what he did at the beginning is that he put up a donation address in Bitcoin, and people were sending him Bitcoin, and then he went live on air and bought dim sum with it and gave it to the people at the front line, and he showed people how he was using the Bitcoin live on air. So that was pretty cool. That's a good example of uncensored transaction.
Something had.
No, but it looked really good. Every time he I don't know if it was chicken feet or not, but every time he shows pictures, it always looks really good, and they have he showed the menu, and it was really long, and it was only dim sum. So I don't know what kind, but they have a lot of choices. So anyway, let me get you. I turned you down. Sorry. So anyway, if you're what's the name of the beer shop you're at?
Lumina.
Right. So if Lumina accepted Bitcoin, then a shop like that is not. A shop like that is not that gigantic. And
Right.
They have to pay. They gotta pay fee. When people pay with credit card, they gotta pay a little bit of fees. When people pay with a debit card, they gotta pay fees. They gotta get that machine. They gotta, you gotta pay a good amount of fee. And then you've got people doing chargebacks on the credit card every once in a while, or, you got a lot of problems with that. So if Lumina were to accept Bitcoin, then if someone in Bitcoin, the money transfers, the Bitcoin transfers are irreversible. So once I send Bitcoin, there's no way to reverse it. That's what I mean. There's no central authority in this. There's no one you call and say, hey, I want to undo my Bitcoin transaction. No, that's not possible. So it's really good for shops or for anyone selling something, because you can't charge back. It's just simply not possible. Sure, voluntarily, you know what I mean? If it's a regular customer, he says, oh, I accidentally sent you too much, can you send me some back? You could make a deal or whatever, but there's no one that's going to force you or coerce you or use violence in order to get you to give it back. It's just simply not possible.
So in order for...
And he wouldn't be... Mm-hmm.
If I want to get dim sum at Lumina, I would have to use violence. Is that what you're saying?
What about dim sum and Lumina?
Would Bitcoin make it easier to get dim sum here?
No, but if somebody tips us on air right now, then I could send you the Bitcoin, and then you could buy a beer. And so they could send you a beer over the internet, basically, and they wouldn't have to use a bank or anything.
That doesn't help me get dim sum, because the fact is dim sum is 2 hours away. It's a 2-hour drive. So,
okay, well the next time we can do the show next week from the dim sum place. Then you got to drive 2 hours and then make sure you have a good Wi-Fi connection, and we can do it from there if you want.
If I want dim sum, I can go to the Asian market and get the frozen char siu bao in Greensboro. So that's an hour of driving, and that's frozen dim sum. So
Hold
if I
on.
wanted, yeah, yeah, take your time. If I want,
Oh, no,
is
go
it
on, go
working?
on. You-
If I want to
Yeah, it's
start playing,
working.
if I want to start playing with Bitcoin, like why and how, why would I get excited about it? How would I get started, get some Bitcoin? Because I'm broke.
Hmm.
I can't just like buy
Hmm.
Bitcoin.
Right, exactly.
Maybe,
Well, the easiest way, let me tell you this, the easiest way to get Bitcoin is what I always tell people is to offer goods or services in exchange for Bitcoin. So this goes on to our next topic. I know that you're working on stuff with your sewing machine because you've got this really cool, well, I call it Mad Max sewing machine, but what's the real name for it?
um, I've got like four Mad Max sewing machines now, and they're old antique Singer sewing machines. Singer was the biggest sewing machine company in the early 1900s on up through 50s. And then J.C. Penney's started, or Sears started carrying Kenmore, and Kenmore sort of became the more common household sewing machine. People still buy Singers. They have a really good reputation. So that my Mad
Right, but
Max.
you have that one that's not electric. That's what I meant with the Mad. Are they all not electric? They're all mechanical?
No, I've got two electric Singers from the early 1900s, but the first one I got was a Model 66, which is a treadle machine, which means it's pedal operated. There's a pedal underneath the machine. You have to use your feet to make it spin. So it's a pre-electricity sewing machine. So
Right. So some of the some of the pictures that you're posting on Facebook of those bags, did you make that on the sewing machine or any of that stuff?
right, so yeah, that stuff is made on those old sewing machines.
Okay, great. Well, we need to get you. I mean, you're pretty good at computers and stuff. Just throw up a real simple one-page website with pictures of your bags, and just offer them for sale for Bitcoin. And I'll help you to do it, and then you could have Bitcoin. And yeah, and you could
Does,
also, use. And I can tell you, there's an app that you can get that I was using when I was visiting you
right,
that I don't know if you remember, but we went to CVS and I paid with the gift certificate. And
right.
I bought the gift certificate with Bitcoin. And they've also got you can
So
also get it for Target and a few other places, but
do you
not
know if
Bojangles.
Etsy takes Bitcoin? Because I've got an Etsy shop. Will they?
Etsy,
Can you? Yeah.
I don't know. I think so, but I'm not sure. They might. I have to go double check. But they might actually take Bitcoin, but I'm not sure. But that means you've already got pictures. So
Right.
basically, it would be really easy for you to just throw something together really quick. You could also go on to bitcointalk.org and look around. I mean, most people are selling software or Bitcoin mining machines or something like that. But they also have people selling stuff. Like I saw someone selling honey the other day. There's a guy on there that sells hot sauce. And so they've just got it's just a forum, and there's also a marketplace section, and you can also post your stuff with pictures, and people will buy it if they like it. I mean, people are also
So,
sometimes people are really looking for stuff to buy, you know.
so that's a market. I mean, people who are into Bitcoin, maybe they're sort of a hobbyist or they have, their financial reasons. They're invested in Bitcoin. They've got their money stored in Bitcoin. Those people would be more likely to buy a product, especially if you're like a cottage industry person making stuff out of your home. If you could tap into that market of folks who want to spend their Bitcoin and would rather buy your product because you accept Bitcoin and they want to support that economy, then that would be another market that sort of
Whoops, I just cut you off. Sorry, hold on.
tell me
Sorry,
what to
uh, sorry. Yeah, sorry, I was just getting really loud, but yeah, you're right, exactly. So basically, the whole Bitcoin system really is perfect for people like you or smaller people doing handmade stuff they don't have to, that's where PayPal fees and stuff like that really hurts small people, And so Bitcoin is really attractive because you could use a payment processor for Bitcoin too, and it makes it easy. For example, called BitPay. They sponsor the Bitcoin Bowl, and all BitPay does is it really helps you to accept Bitcoin and then exchange it for dollars immediately, and they send it to your bank account. But I think it's better just to accept Bitcoins directly. So you would just put a QR code, which is your Bitcoin address, on your website, and or you make a little shop or whatever, and you can people can pay in Bitcoin, and yeah, that's the easiest way to get Bitcoin, I think. If you don't want to buy Bitcoin or you can't buy Bitcoin, is just to offer goods or services and get into that economy. And there are people looking places to spend their Bitcoin. That's good stuff because they want to. People like me, I want to support the Bitcoin economy.
And we're
So you're
okay.
muted. Sorry, we're
Muted.
having some technical problems.
Did you watch
Hey,
the
wait a minute, wait just a second. You were talking about the Bitcoin Bowl, but hey, viewers, if you want, you can ask questions. Just use the question and answer function on Google Hangout, and you can ask us questions. I'm going to check if we have any questions right now. We've got about a few viewers right now, so there are people watching. Hold on. Let's see if we have any questions. Looks like we don't have any questions yet. Okay. So yeah, tell us. I was talking about the Bitcoin Bowl. Do you have a question about it?
Did you watch it?
Yes, I watched it, and not only did I watch it, on World Crypto Network we did live commentary. So basically, we did parallel commentary to the Bitcoin Bowl, and it was really a lot of fun. We had an online pizza party, so just like we're having now, but we were eating pizza and drinking beer. We had to drink beer every time there was a touchback. And yeah, actually, we do have questions. So let me go to them. Here we go. It says they're trying to legalize tap beer here in grocery stores in Wisconsin, so people can come and refill their beers. And it also says Jamie Nelson, who's also on the World Crypto Network, says a German company bought Pabst Blue Ribbon beer. Well, yeah, Pabst Blue Ribbon was, basically the de facto hipster beer. It used to be kind of like Mill West and Pabst were the cheap beer, but then it became kind of in style. Do people still drink that, Whit? Are you with me? I think Whit he's trying to use his phone, but yeah, that's interesting that a German company bought Pabst Blue Ribbon. Jamie also has the mechanical pedal singer, but he's using it for a TV stand, he says. That's pretty funny. Yeah, there's lots of uses. Maybe you could power your TV by using the pedal to generate electricity. So Whit has got some technical issues. Let's see if we can fix those. Hey, Whit, are you back?
Yeah, I'm back. All right.
So one of them is playing the video. So did you hear? I wanted to ask: are people still drinking Pabst Blue Ribbon? Because Jamie Nelson commented that a German company bought Pabst Blue Ribbon, which I didn't know. Do people still drink that? And now I don't hear you. Well, I don't know what you did. It's hold on. Don't touch anything. Your microphone is red. Now I hear you. Talk.
Yeah, so you can hear me now?
Yes.
Let's see. I'm sorry, I'm having trouble with this phone. There we go.
It's
Okay, turn
okay.
the camera back on.
I think next time you can just do one thing, but maybe that's good that you had a backup like that.
Yeah, the
Anyway,
battery is getting low.
okay. You're also echoing a little, but it's okay. It's no big
Yep.
deal right now. So, do they have Pabst Blue Ribbon at Luna Beer and Wine? This is the part of the show where it gets really interesting. And we've got a nice picture of some green or something like that. Anyway, if you're watching, you want to ask more questions, go ahead. We're going to figure out Whit's technical details. He's out open in Asheboro, North Carolina. And Whit, I hear you.
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay, now
Yep.
you're back. Just stay like that. Don't change it. So, can I buy Pabst Blue Ribbon where you're at?
Yeah, you can. Um, yeah, people still drink Pabst Blue Ribbon. I'm having a little. I can't see you now. I don't know. Maybe it'll fix. Oh, I remember. I had to press this button. Here we go.
Right.
There.
Here we are. Ladies and gentlemen, we're very good at high-tech things. This is a demonstration here, a live demonstration. But
Any other good questions?
all right. So let's see. What else is going on?
Well, I was hoping I could switch from the phone to the laptop because the phone is running out of batteries now. I was a little
Okay,
afraid
we'll
that would
just
happen.
stay on that. If it runs out of batteries, it runs out of batteries. Actually, I want you to tell us more about your sewing and your idea about making jeans and all that kind of stuff. Can you tell us a little bit about your idea?
Well, I got interested in textile stuff. Sort of had a renewed interest several years ago, and started looking and researching and being sort of passionate about Japanese textiles. And big part of that is big part of Japanese textiles, or one thing that people find some in value in is indigo process. And so I was researching and reading and obsessing about indigo. Um, I started following some folks online blogs about uh, blue jeans and denim um, and there's a lot of importance in Japan with denim and blue jeans and stuff. Um, and so I asked a friend. Well, I was thinking about it. I was like, I don't want to make blue jeans. It seems like there are a lot of people in the U.S. who are making these uh, handmade, bespoke blue jeans, and I thought, well, there's only one manufacturer of denim in the U.S. There's a lot of really high quality denim in Japan, but there's only one manufacturer in the U.S. that's making this really high quality denim on old denim weaving machines, and that happens to be in Greensboro, which is about 20 miles away. The manufacturer is called Cone Denim, and they had some machines left over when the resurgence in interest in high quality denim happened, um, because a lot of textile manufacturers like Wrangler and Levi's had shipped their manufacturing overseas. Um, and so I was asking around about weaving denim, and I'm in Asheboro, where there's a long history of textiles manufacturing, and there's some interest here in preserving the history of textiles. And so I'm working now with some folks on building a museum that'll have a live uh, denim manufacturing component in the museum, and maybe I don't know, or a live textile manufacturing, not necessarily denim. So I'm working with some folks on preserving the history of textiles here, um, maybe 15, 20 years after a lot of those jobs went overseas. It's really interesting. There's a lot of interest in having some sort of manufacturing in the U.S. Um, there just hasn't been very much manufacturing here since globalization sort of came. Does that make sense? Kind of.
Yeah, that totally makes sense. So do you have access to one of these old machines?
Well, the Historical Society here has a collection of machines from an old mill, and I'm currently working with the Historical Society to obtain some other antique machines that are in the area that are in storage and people have stored in their warehouses and attics and stuff. And the idea is to preserve these machines and put them on display at some point and have them in working order so that we can produce textiles and show people how the process works and how it used to work. Um, all the way back from the 1800s when the mills were first built in this area, all the way up to more modern machinery and stuff. It's a matter of restoring some of these machines that have been in disuse for 15 or 20 years.
So so can you use them to make stuff then, or are they just going to be like museum style to look at and then be like operational sometimes, or are you going to be able to like get one and make stuff? I don't know if you want to make jeans or if you want to make, I don't know, jean jacket. That would be cool with no sleeves, right?
Right, right. So we want to put together a like I don't know what you call it, a group of people who are into machines and restoring old stuff and do like a sort of tool swap, hangout, restoration workshop is what it would be called. And so on the weekends, like we'll get together and hang out and restore these old machines and get them up to uh, museum quality or just preserved, function, to the point of being functional. And once we've got that, and we see that there's some interest in doing that, preserving that heritage, then maybe perhaps we could get, we could start producing some textiles. These machines, sort of like the old sewing machine, the old Mad Max sewing machines I've got, because they were built so well, they're built from cast iron. They can continue to function as long as the parts can be maintained and reproduced and stuff like that. Some of the parts aren't in manufacture anymore, but they're cast iron, so or wood or leather, so they can be reproduced if we can figure out what parts need to be reproduced and stuff. Then the machines can be kept in working order indefinitely.
Okay, well that sounds really cool. So, what material are you using for the bags and the other stuff that you're making on your sewing machines?
Well, because there's interest in using the historical methods and producing this high quality material here in North Carolina.
Hold on, say that again because you had like wind or a car or something.
Oh yeah, I feel like it's probably wind. It just picked up out here. Because there's interest in textiles produced locally, so it's part of that local, like made locally, slow food sort of movement, sort of like the local food movement, except for textiles.
Slow
Because there's
textiles.
right, like slow textiles. So because there's interest in that, I'm using textiles that were made at Cone in Greensboro. So there's a facility there called White Oak where they use the old antique machines to produce denim and duck and canvas. Um, and so I'm ordering from a retailer some of their seconds and stuff to make the bags out of. Um, so they're all
Right. So you
local.
can order so kind of like scraps and good pieces that odd pieces that they don't need anymore and you can use them to make other stuff basically, right?
Well, there's some of that. Like I've got some salvage stuff, but seconds are textiles that are second quality, so they're a little bit less expensive, and that's what I've found readily available in the retail market because I can't order directly from Cone because I'm not making stuff. I'm not making thousands of yards of stuff. So the retailers sell seconds because they're less expensive. So seconds is like second quality. So I think Cone big contracts are Levi's, and that's a lot of denim. So they like to sell thousands of yards at a time. So you have to get what you get.
Well, if you bought 1,000 yards, you'd have a lot to do on your foot pedal sewing machine. Then you'd have to really get your feet going to be able to use
Exactly.
all that, right? That would be a lot. I mean, it would just fill your whole apartment basically.
Right. And I can't compete with the big guys in Pakistan. So you know my calves
Well,
would be really well developed.
well, can you make like hats? Is that really hard to make?
Hats are hard to make. You need special machines to make a hat because you have to go in a circle.
Hmm.
You can't use a flat head.
How about a wallet?
Wallets are
Denim
pretty.
wallet.
Yeah, wallets are good. I got some leather. I'm making some wallets. I'd like to sort of make things that are really useful and durable, like made really, really well, so they'll last out of really, high quality material. Um, so like a canvas wallet that would last forever. It's just made. You buy it because it's it's crafted well. I'm sick of when I was doing landscaping. I sort of got sick of buying equipment at Lowe's and it breaks, or you buy a nylon wallet that dry rots and falls apart. And so I think it's interesting to use old technologies and textiles that were made to last, just like the sewing machines that from the 1902 that still runs just fine and makes a stitch that's better than a sewing machine you could buy for $500 in Walmart right now.
Yeah, that is really crazy. Yeah, but you see how well the stuff was made. It lasts so long. And I can't think of a lot of things that are made right now that are gonna last that long. I mean, I really can't think of a lot of things. I guess glass bottles. I don't know really what else. What relics or what old machines people are gonna find. I mean, maybe some computers will still work. I mean, C64s work, but I don't know if the computers that are made now are going to work in 10 years or 20 years or other machines. I have no idea.
Right.
It's just not made the same way. Nobody uses cast
Yeah.
iron or something.
Right. And there's those machines that are around and still work. That's something that we don't have to remine out of the ground and remanufacture. And beyond the fact that planned obsolescence gets really annoying and boring and costs money every 4 years. All the materials to remake things over and over again have to come out of the ground, and we've only got so much, of those gorgeous mountains to knock the tops off of and mine. So, Theo, I was wondering if I turn on Google Hangouts on the laptop, if you can switch it over. Like,
Yeah, sure. Just go for it.
so
Just do a
if I
live
join,
switch. It should work.
if I join on the laptop,
Now
can
you're
you switch
joined.
over to that
We're
one?
doing a live switch. We're doing a live switch, everyone. So now you're in 2 times. Now close the one you don't want, and you should be fine. It should work because I see you in the other one. So yeah, or just mute that one. That's fine. Try to talk because it wasn't working earlier. So I don't hear you, but I see you. So you have to do sign language, I guess. No, I don't hear you. I'm gonna hold on. Don't do anything. I'm gonna go to the mixing. Ladies and gentlemen, we're doing some live DJing here. Hold on. Now talk, please. Try to do some testing. Wait, test. I still don't hear you. Um, what I'm gonna do? What can you unmute the other one and just use it for sound? Because maybe that's a solution. Thanks, viewers, for bearing with us while we figure out these technical details. Whit's still learning how to use Hangouts, but I think we're doing pretty good for him being outside. If you have any questions, I'm going to check the questions again. Yeah, so Whit's got some pretty cool ideas about using this really high-quality denim. Maybe he can explain to us what is so high quality about it. I do know that in Greensboro, North Carolina, there is a factory that's making this special stuff, and yeah, like he said, it's really high quality. It lasts a really long time. So it's not just I mean, there's also the fashion aspect of it, but there's also the utility aspect that it's really sturdy and lasts a long time. Whit, are you there? Can you hear us? SOS, Whit. We see you, but we don't hear you. Anyway. All right, I'm going to go check out, what am I going to check out? Let's go check out Twitter. See if we've got any messages on Twitter, because we do have a few viewers. We've got a... Oh, good. So, Dustin from Bitcoin Art Gallery says that I think there is some... They do accept Bitcoin, Etsy, so you could do that. And we've also got a cool picture of Jamie's Singer. I'm going to do a screen share. I hear you now, so that's good, Whit. Can you?
Right.
Yep. Now I hear you. So you keep talking, and I'm going to do a screen share of some pictures that some people have posted on Twitter while they've been watching.
Okay, cool.
I want you to tell me. Yeah. Well, I want you to tell us exactly what is so special about this denim that it lasts so long.
It sort of reminds me of the noise projects we used to do back in the day. So let's see if I can make it. See if I can feed back.
Hey, Whit.
Yeah.
Tell us special about this denim that you're talking about. Why does it last so long?
So it lasts long if you take really good care of it. I'm sorry, feedback is making me crazy.
And just turn one, use one for sound and one for video, because that's what
got it.
Was working.
Turn my volume back. Okay, so the thing is, the old denim was made on machines that were analog, basically. The machines now are computer controlled, and the old machines like the Draper shuttle loom were controlled by a weaver and a fixer, and they would make the weave by hand on the machines, and it just gives you analog quality control. To the point that the machines and the floor and the building would be important to cause the machines to vibrate. And so, if you can get the machine to vibrate in a certain way, then you can, like a violin, make a denim that can't be reproduced in any other way. So the machines would actually vibrate to the point that they would affect the weave through the way that the floor, even the wooden floor, was set up, or the walls of the building were set up. There was a point where they reached the maximum amount of machines they could fit in the factories, and they would break the foundation of the factory floor, and so had to start building a certain kind of floor to absorb the vibration of the machine. So it's a craft made textile as opposed to a digitally made textile.
Right. Well, that sounds really interesting. I get it. Yeah, so the vibration of the machines actually is part of the whole reason that it's one of a kind. So check this out. Dustin from Bitcoin Art Gallery um, sent us a link about using Bitcoin on Etsy, and you can do it. And here, I'll send you the link afterwards. And this link explains how you can set up your shop to accept Bitcoin on Etsy. And also over here, we've got a picture of Jamie's TV stand. I don't know if you can see it. Can you see this?
Hmm.
Can you see it?
Yes. Oh yeah. So it's an
Yes,
old
he's got
finger treadle machine.
right. Yeah. So that's pretty cool too. Thanks, guys. All right. Yeah,
So
that's really interesting. I mean, so basically, those machines over in Greensboro, the denim they're making, it's not very easily reproduced. I mean, you could get some machines if you had old machines and set something up, but that would kind of have your own fingerprint on them, depending on how you got it all got the vibration going, and how you have the machine set up is going to make a different denim than the ones they have set up in Greensboro, right?
right. So it's the difference in playing a violin and playing a keyboard.
Right. Well, I really like the setup you have now with the with using the phone as a mic. That sounds really good. That's a good setup.
Um. So does the picture come across, or does it just go back to? It goes to this like circle thing, doesn't it?
Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. It doesn't matter. Sometimes
I'm
when the
just interested.
bandwidth is low, yeah, sometimes when the bandwidth is low, it just shows your avatar, but now you're back, for example. It's no big deal. Okay, let's check the questions again. Whit, you have any other questions about Bitcoin? I mean, I think that what you should do is just set up a one-page website, a real simple one, with put those pictures of the stuff you're making on it, and I will help you get a wallet, and you can just you could we can either do a real simple site with a shop, a little shop added to it. It shouldn't be that hard to do, or maybe there are some like buy it now buttons you can do for Bitcoin, and yeah, and then people can just buy your bags with Bitcoin. I think that's a good way to do it, and that would, like I said, it's perfect for the small guy that doesn't want to deal with eBay and all that. And if you don't have a lot of money, you can't really hold the Bitcoin, then you can use Gift GYFT and buy gift certificates with Bitcoin for. You can buy groceries, Target or CVS, or there was a few other places when I visited you where I could use the gift certificates. So you
Right.
can definitely
So
use it for something. So that's definitely a possibility.
right. So
I mean, when we went to
and how much
CVS,
money
we
did
went to
you save
CVS.
during your trip using Bitcoin?
Well, I can't say exactly whatever, but no, I'm just. Well, Gift, the website is called GYFT. They actually, if you buy gift certificates there, they give you. I don't know if it's like 1% or 2%. Like they give you kind of like a bonus. You get these points, and I think each point is a cent or a dollar. I don't remember, but anyway, they basically, if you use bitcoins there, they give you like 1% back, so it's pretty good for that. And basically, it was good for me because I had a hunch that the price was going to go down, and I was right. And so I was like, okay, I just want to spend the Bitcoin right now and buy stuff while I'm on vacation rather than hold it and just watch the price go down. So that's what I did, and it was good that I did that because it was worth a good amount more back when I was visiting you, even though it was just a few months ago, than it is right now. So that was a good reason. And it kept on going down when I was on vacation. And sometimes when I saw the price go down, I just went over to the gift app and I just bought some gift certificates. So I was ready to go. I had already spent some of the Bitcoin before, and it just kept going down. But I would just spend it as it went down. So I was, you know, that was okay for me, and it was really easy to use. So I don't think I've been to Target so much in my life, just because they have about everything. It's kind of like Walmart, except it's not as big, and they have about everything, and I could use the gift certificates there, so I just bought almost the whole vacation. If we needed anything like milk or whatever, I just went to Target every time, basically. It got a little bit crazy because I got tired of going there, but um, yeah, it was pretty convenient since they accepted that. So I can't hear you again. Are you back? Or did you run out of batteries? You need to get back so you can get a final word in, because we're gonna end it soon. Okay, Wit is having technical difficulties again, but that's okay. We did pretty good for our first time. He's never done a hangout, so we did pretty good for that first time, I think. He might be able to come back. If you have any questions, you can use the Q&A, or I'm going to go over and check my Twitter. My Twitter is @BitcoinPotato, and I've also got it in the description of the video that you're watching right now. On WorldCryptoNetwork.com, tonight is the Bitcoin group. I forgot the time it is, but just check out WorldCryptoNetwork.com. I think it's in about 3 hours, 2 or 3 hours. And let's see, on Sunday is Transmission, my show on World Crypto Network. Also on Sunday is Mad Potcoins on World Crypto Network. So check it out. There's got some good shows there. Wit, you have any final words? Well, Wit doesn't really have any final words because we can't hear him. But that's okay. We're going to go out. Thanks for watching, everybody, and see you next week.